Did you guys know about the Creature Crate Patreon? Every month you'll get amazing files that you can make, like this Donkey Kong, this dragon, this robot tech scarab, this Cerberus, or this super cool set of Bulbasaurs. You can also sell the prints from these files as an authorized seller. Join the Creature Crate Patreon now. Link is in the description below. Hey guys, what's up? Nico again here, and in this 3D Printed Profits episode, I actually have one of my students from the coaching program, Chris. Chris, where are you coming from, man?
I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Denver, Colorado. So Chris, prior to coming into the coaching program, because I don't want you guys to be misled, he was already making a lot of money with his Etsy store. And we're going to dive into that. We're going to talk about how he got there, the steps he took to get there, so on and so forth. And as always, make sure you guys join the Facebook group for 3D Printed Side Hustle. The link is down below. And all of Chris's links are going to be in the description below if you're on YouTube. And if you're on a favorite podcast player, it's going to be in the show notes. So let's get started here. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Nico. Glad to be here, man.
So let's get started here, man. What is your background and how did you get into 3D printing?
Yeah, so my background has nothing to do with 3D printing, right? I've been in automotive my whole career, and I've done lots of things with cars and in work for different companies. And, 3D printing only really became cool the last few years, right? And so I've always known about it. And essentially it came down to a friend and a brother-in-law that were printing. And I just started seeing it and going, that looks like fun. So I got on the train and just decided to get my own printer on an Amazon flash sale. And here I am now.
That's normally how people's stories go, right? You see something, you're like, that looks like a blast.
Yeah, right.
So tell me more about the business, man. What is it exactly that you sell?
Yeah, so I have a big mix of a lot of things. I have over 100 different items that I sell. If you were to look at my categories and break them down, Star Wars is the biggest one. As you can see with what I'm wearing, I love my pop culture stuff, Back to the Future and Harry Potter stuff and Marvel and DC, all that stuff. So, but my biggest niche, I'd say, is going to be around lightsabers, 3D printed lightsabers. And a lot of components for them, stands and displays, electronic versions of those, but a lot of things centered around that. But the important thing is it's all centered around things that I like, things that I wanted to make myself, and then grew it from there.
That's awesome, man. So do you can people customize their lightsabers when they come to you then?
Yeah, in a way, right? So, I have a separate designer that makes a lot of these lightsabers. I've tweaked things a little bit. I'm getting more into the space of doing things with electronics so people can slip an electronic core, light it up, and voila, you've got all of this. So, there's a lot of customization that comes just with 3D printing in the first place.
Dude, that's so badass, man. So how'd you come up with that idea? Is just you're just a Star Wars nerd and like, I've never seen this lightsaber and I'm gonna make it.
There you go. It just came to that. I found a guy who was had these things on Thingiverse, and I decided to try a few that I wanted to do, and it was exciting. I had a lot of fun with that, and then it started going like, oh well, hey, what if I got permission to sell these? And he gave me permission to do that. And then it was like, hey, you know what? Now I'm making money from that. I can go buy the real lightsabers from Disneyland that I could never justify the cost on. So I was able to go buy other things to expand my hobby. And then I went, well, now people need to display these. What if I made stands? And I have 4 or 5 different types of stands now that people could display their lightsabers with. So it just started to grow into things that I needed that then other people would have the same need.
Dude, that's awesome, man. It's kind of like one of our last guests where he 3D printed gunplay hangers, right? He's coming up on one of the episodes coming up. And he just, instead of having just the Gundam just displayed there with no stand, he designed a hanger where they can display it, and it's a cooler looking display. It's kind of like the same thing for your lightsabers.
Right. Yeah, ways to support it. And during COVID, I started getting into an arcade phase, buying a lot of arcade cabinets. And then I was like, hey, I can make this. I need little covers for this, and I need displays for that. And I started making more and then put them online, and people are like, yeah, I want that too. So it was a lot of fun to just take what I wanted, gave it to everyone else.
Dude, that's awesome, man. So how much money are you making on the business?
Yeah, so it's been up and coming, growing and growing, and I'm at a point now where it's like, all right, I can take this seriously and grow it to become a full-time job. I'm not at that point yet. I'm at 100,000 in revenue right now, which sounds great, being able to pull things in, but there's bills to pay and there's filament to buy and all sorts of things like that. So as we continue to grow it, we can do that. But I'm at a point now where it's like, do I want to limit the growth and just live life? or do I want to go all in and do more with this? And so it's glad that we're able to tip that 100,000 mark, because that's the point when you go, all right, am I going to take this serious or not?
Dude, $100,000 is that's some no joke money right there. That's big leagues as far as a side hustle goes. For you to be
Right.
able to pull that kind of income, with still a day job with the
Yeah.
family, so it's, I mean, that's impressive. So congratulations there, Chris.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I remember the first sale that I got. It was Christmas Day 2019, $5 sale. I was so excited about it. And then I looked at the notes and the shipping, and I'm like, oh, it's one of my friends. So I was like,
Oh,
okay, well, that's still
hey, you
cool.
know,
That's cool. They
it's
took care of
something,
me,
right?
right? So I
That's where
remember
it all
that
starts.
$5 order. And then here I am, getting multiple $5 orders or more every single day. So it's just fun to see it grow.
Man, those things add up, right? So $5, $10. Next thing you know, 4 orders of $5, that's $20. You do
Right.
that, 20 bucks a day, that's $600 a month.
Yes.
All of a
It
sudden,
grows very quickly.
you're like, okay, all right, I got something here. And
Yeah.
all you had to do was load the machine. The machine did all the hard work, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, now at this point, if I'm making less than $700 a week, it's a slow week. So that's a fun way to look at that. And that's just a side thing. These printers run in the background while I do my day job. That's all I got to do. Just let them run.
Love it, dude. I mean, it's a robot that doesn't complain. You don't have
Yeah.
to pay it. There's no benefits you have to pay out. It doesn't yell at you. It doesn't call in sick. You know what? I should do the call in sick, because sometimes they do. Like, oh, I got a clogged
Yeah.
nozzle.
Oh yeah. Right before this call, I got a piece of filament jammed in PTFE tube. I'm like, I don't got time to deal with this. You're just gonna sit there and I'll deal with you later. You're in timeout. The other guys get the attention today.
There you go. There you go. So, um, so how did you get your first customers, man? Like, so what happened? Did you saw a lightsaber? Hey, I'm going to sell this, and then you post it up on Etsy? How did that go?
Yeah, so my first item was actually a tire valve stem cover. So everyone's got
What?
the little black things that you screw onto your tire valve stems, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, why not put a logo on top of that? And so I started making different things like that. Think Captain America's shield that you screw on top of that. Well, this particular one, it was a Grogu, a Baby Yoda thing that she bought for her kids' bicycles. And so you had to, I think, outside the box for one, but came up with something again that I wanted, threw it on Etsy, and put it on social media. My friend wouldn't have known had I not shared it with the rest of my friends. Hey, look what I'm doing. I'm starting to sell stuff. Here are some of the things I got. And she bought some. And so the first few sales tend to be family and friends, right? And then you post it in other groups who are interested. And then you do some more advertising when you can afford to pay for that. And voila, it starts to grow on its own, but with the constant influence of my own. So it wouldn't have happened had I not purposely gone out there and shown people what I was trying to sell.
So basically, what Chris is saying here, you guys, that's the hustle part of the side hustle.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of us will just go build a business and think that they're going to come. No, they're not going to come. You got to go out and show your stuff. You got to sell it.
Yeah.
Right. That's the marketing aspect that a lot of people are missing. And that's why majority of the businesses fail, because they neglect that part.
Right.
So what happened next, man? So you put this baby Yoda, cap, valve stem cap, on Etsy. Your friend purchases it, and then
Yeah.
how did the whole thing go?
Well,
How did it
then,
grow?
I've had a running list of ideas, different things that I've wanted to make. And sometimes those are things that I make just for my own, whether it's because it has a no commercial license and I can't sell it and they won't give me rights, or it was like, that was a fun build. I never want to do it again. And I'm not going to ever go print these things again and try to sell it because it's 108 pieces. It's just going to take too long to do that. So I kind of feel it out as to what's a cool thing to use. I don't sell every lightsaber that I make because they can be a pain to assemble. And oftentimes I sell them either assembled or unassembled, and I don't want to deal with it. It takes too much time, and I go, forget it. It might sell, I might make money, but it's taken too much time away from other things. And so I simplify the models, I simplify what I'm printing. And if it takes too long, it's not worth it. If it's taken too long, if it's, my general rule of thumb, if it takes more than 8 hours to print a single part of my print, I'm done. But that works for me in my business because that's taking up printer space for other things that I need to print. So I just find the things that work for me that I like, and then what would someone else like? And is it something that I can actually market, or is it just something that's cool, but probably no one's going to buy?
Dude, that's awesome, man. So it's basically you've created your own process, right?
Yeah.
And the process really is just a set of rules that you have for your business and that you follow. If
Yeah.
it goes, if this, then that. If this, then not that.
Right.
Is essentially how his
Yeah.
process goes, and that's really smart that you did that, man.
Right. Yeah. And you know, you just gotta figure out what works. Sometimes you post something that you think is awesome. And maybe you get a lot of eyeballs, but no one buys it. And it's like, well, okay. I mean, no harm, no foul. I'm not losing money by putting it up there. But oftentimes the things that have sold best for me, like hotcakes, tend to be items that I don't even really care about all that much. They're just something I came across and it sold really, really well.
Dude, that's no joke, man. It's always like that. I've
Yeah.
created products where I'm like, oh, people are gonna love this, and I post it, and it's crickets. And
Yeah.
then I make one like, oh, no one's gonna like this, but whatever, it's there. I post it, and then bang, 100
Right.
people buy it, and I'm like, what?
Right. I mean, my
Seriously?
top selling item, I think I'd have to look for sure, but I still think I've sold more of these than any other item yet. They are replaceable KitchenAid mixer knobs. They're this big. It's just a stupid knob with a slot in it. Well, KitchenAid doesn't sell replacements. So a friend of mine asked me to make one. I made one for him and I went, I'll throw it on my store. Boom. Everybody on the internet started buying them. So I've sold more of those stupid little knobs. Here I am loving pop culture. And what am I selling the most of? A kitchen replacement. That's it.
KitchenAid knob, you guys.
Weird.
Check that out. I couldn't have thought of that for my
No.
product idea to give you in a
Right.
million years.
It's just weird. Sometimes you just have to go like, yeah, let's throw it on the store and see what happens.
All right, man. So when you made this money, did you start reinvesting in machines? What did you do with them?
Absolutely. The first investment that I wanted to make was to get rid of my Ender 3. Oh my gosh. We were ready for a breakup. You say these things don't complain. Well, she was standing there in the corner with her arms crossed saying, yeah, well, I'm going to throw this problem at you. I hated that machine. I bought it for $175 on Amazon. I got my money's worth, I tell you, because it was junk, to put it bluntly. And I had so many issues with it. And my brother-in-law had a Prusa. And I go look at it and go, how are you getting so much detail out of this thing? You don't have any of these issues and you just press print and it works. So I started saving my money and I bought my first Prusa printer. Fast forward, I've got 10 Prusa printers now. And each one of those has been a reinvestment of the profits. So I haven't had to pay extra for any of those. Even a couple of them, I donated to one of my kids' schools to help build their STEM program so they can do more with 3D printing. So, but each and every one of those was reinvested from my business and just being able to support what I needed with the type of machines that I knew would work well for me.
That's awesome, man. I mean, dude, 10 Prusas, that's pricey. Because Prusas are no joke. They're expensive machines.
Right. And thankfully you get good use out of them and they work well.
So that's your workhorse currently.
They are. Yeah. So I've got, think behind me, I've got 6 of the Mark III S's and I have 2 minis that work well for me. And the other 2 I donated away. So, but they just work. You don't have to do much to really take care of them. And they're beautiful prints. That's the best thing about them. So yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's worth it for what you get out of it.
All right. Shout out to Joe Prusa.
Yeah, way to go,
shout out to you, man. Good products. Good products.
No kidding.
So what filament do you use? So we know what machines you use for your print farm. What filament are you using?
It depends on the color. For my mass ones, the biggest, like everyone's going through black, white, and silver. So I actually get the best discounts by going through Matter Hackers. And I buy them in bulk from them, and I'm able to get them down for a real cheap price. And so I order them in big bulks, big giant boxes coming in for black, white, and silver. But then there's some other colors that it's just like, you know what? Red, white, and green. The best red and white and green that I have right now are from Prusa. They're Prusa mints. It just works every time, especially yellow. It took forever to get yellow that wasn't just see-through, transparent. It took red that was like, that's not red, that's orange. It took me forever to find the right red. Well, Prusa came down and went, hey, this is the one. So sometimes it's just the specific brand that has the exact shade that I need because it's just lame otherwise. But then, I've got like 6 or 7 different shades of blue, and sometimes I'll buy them off of Amazon, sometimes Matter Hackers. It just is a variety of places. Micro Center, I have one of those in town. So if I need something, I can almost always go to Micro Center and get the color I need right off the shelf. So they're kind of my go-to if I need something. But I've got a few places that I know this is where I go, this is where I get my supplies, but I kind of had to feel it out either for the right price or the right color.
Sweet, man. So are your products, you don't paint any of your products. It just comes from the filament and then go.
I've painted 2 products ever and I hated it. It was just no fun. In fact, they were both products that I saw Uncle Jesse make on his YouTube channel. I went, you
Shout
know
out to
what?
Uncle Jay.
Hey, shout out to him. If he can do it with ease, I can do it. He does a lot of finishing, and I'm like, I don't really want to do that. But he had an easy project. I did it, and I went, I'm never want to do this again.
What was it?
Everything I make, the first one was it's a sign, and he just used rub and buff to be able to do a lot of stuff to just make it look cool. So I was like, that's easy enough. I can do that. And I've done that one other time, and that was it with an Eye of Agamotto that
Gotcha. Okay.
tutorial on. So those are the only two things, and he did it, and he can do that. But for me, I make like all of my lightsabers. They're all printed in color, so it might be gray, silver, blue, red, all the specific colors that need to be in there, and then they're assembled accordingly. So I advertise to people, no painting required, because that turns off a lot of people when they're going to build something. Is they're like, I'll put it together, but I don't want to paint. So because I'm like that, I refuse to paint anything. I don't sell models that are all white. I sell them in the colors that they're supposed to be in. And it's just made people a lot happier that way.
Dude, that's awesome, man. So you print kits is what I'm getting at, right? You print the kits and they assemble it themselves. A lot of people love that. A lot of people love the build is half the fun is building it yourself.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'll show you this lightsaber right here. It's got 5 different colors on it: black, silver, gray, gold, and red. It's a very easy kit. This one's not hard to assemble at all, but hey, no paint required. Just put it in there, snap it all into place, a little bit of glue, and it holds it in place. And it comes out nice. It's ready to display, and you don't have to worry about anything else.
Dude, that's so do you create the telescoping mechanism too for the lightsaber?
No, I will sell those separately. So I don't know if this will turn up in the Zoom here, but I've got these tubes for people that want to do that with their electronics. So they can, or they can just go buy, piece of acrylic pipe and go do that themselves.
That's cool. Dude, that's awesome, man. So what struggles did you have when you first started?
That's a big question, because like everything's a struggle when you start a business, right? And I already mentioned I was fighting with my Ms. Ender machine. She was always pitching a fit. So print quality was just difficult off of those machines, being able to get what I wanted each time and not having gaps and missing layers and peels and warping, all these things that were just irritating on that machine. So you face a lot of that. I remember when we were really starting to grow, realizing I don't know how to package. I don't know how to sell these things. So my wife and I would sit there and we would take Amazon packages and cut them up into pieces and then like tape those to work, because I didn't want to invest my money into padded envelopes because I just didn't have a lot of money at the time. So it was difficult going
bootstrap. Dude, you bootstrapped the hell out of this.
Like doing everything I can. I think back to that and go like, that was ridiculous that I was cutting up Amazon packages because I couldn't afford to go buy padded envelopes. Eventually, it was I have to do this. And then you never look back and go like, why do we ever do it that way? So there's little things that, because you don't have money, you don't want to invest in some other things. Maybe there's a nicer filament, but you're okay with this one. And maybe it's a machine that you can only afford a $200 printer, but I keep saving. And then I go buy that $1,000 printer and go, okay, now I can breathe here a little bit because I'm going to get better print quality and can print more objects at a faster rate. So there's all sorts of things that you're going to have to face along the way, but those were a couple of them for me.
That's awesome, man. So you guys, that's a big lesson right here. I really hope you're paying attention, because Chris is giving you guys a lot of gold. He's basically saying, you do what you got to do, right? I mean, like he said, all the struggles are all there, but man, look at him now. I mean, 100,000 in revenue, you guys. The dude knows what he's doing.
Thanks.
So how else does a business make money right now, aside from selling prints on Etsy?
Yeah, so I've dabbled in a few other places. I have a few things on eBay. I opened up a Shopify store, but just kind of let those sit there. Etsy's really been the main thing. I've looked at doing like some farmers markets or craft markets, but I've never really liked that approach with what I sell. For example, if I was going to go sell a lightsaber, it's like, okay, I could go pre-print a few, but I'm not going to have a huge stock because most of what I do is print on demand. When you're getting a couple dozen orders a day, it's like I got to just print what I have and not necessarily have a bunch of those things. So for me, it's mostly just been online, some referrals that I get from things where people want certain things made, but a lot of it is just coming through my Etsy store and of course my own personal advertising out there too.
Gotcha. Do you have any print services or design services?
Kind of. I mean, on some items, I say, request a new version of this, and they can do a customized version of that particular item. So it's not from scratch. Most of what I do is remixing other people's designs. So they've already designed it. I got permission to sell it and remix it, and I make it suitable for me. And I tweak it a little bit, and I change that. I would say at least 80% of the things I have on my store have been remixed by me, but not designed by me. Someone else did it. Now I do sell some digital files as well that I have out there, and truth be told, that's the next era for me. What I'm trying to get into more, and whether those things I designed or I'm able to commission that out, but really that just supports what I've been doing the whole time. That these designs, they're not mine, they're someone else's, but I paid for them to do that.
Awesome, dude. So these lightsabers, have you done like original ones where you say, hey, I want this lightsaber, you draw it out, and then your designer say, all right, I'll do that. And then poof, you're like, this is a Chris West original. It's cool. Because I mean, there were what, millions of Jedi, right, across the universe.
Right.
And we haven't seen everyone's lightsaber.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yes and no. Some people have approached me, and because I'm not the designer, I've turned them away on things. However, that doesn't mean it's not a good idea, and it doesn't mean I don't want to use it later. And I've gone to a couple designers since then and go, you know what? What if? And then we, fill in this character had a lightsaber or something, and put it out there. And what would that look like? And that's kind of a fun way to think about it and go, for example, Boba Fett, he uses his rifles all the time, but what if he had a lightsaber? What would that look like? What would those things, and those kind of what if scenarios I take to some of my designers to work with it from there. But again, that's kind of with me. I've learned how to tinker things and mess with them and do that, but very little have I designed on my own. So if you come to me with an idea, I might be able to swing it with what I have existing already, or I'll go, you know what? Sorry, that's not what I do, but hey, maybe I can go to one of my designers later on. We can get something like that made up.
Dude, that's so awesome, man. I love the ideas. I love the creativity of it. So what have you done to increase sales for the shop, like Etsy ads, free shipping, so on and so forth?
Yeah. So, I've learned a few things along the way with Etsy. Just have multiple listings. If it doesn't sell well, who cares? I'm paying 20 cents every 3 months. It does not hurt me. So put it out there. In fact, there was an item I sold today. First item ever, or first time sold ever on that one. I've had it listed over a year. And what did it cost me? It cost me 20 cents. It cost me over $2, but I just sold it for 25. So I made profit. So
Right.
It worked out. So increasing that, I do, especially with new items, I'll drop in certain groups on Facebook that I'm a part of, and say, hey, what do you think about this? And get their opinion. Or I'll say, hey, for example, a new lightsaber came out. So I'm like, hey, now you need a way to display it. So I've got all sorts of things here for you to work off. So self-promotion has worked in some of those groups. I definitely do Etsy ads and put that out there as well. Long form tags, those are super important by making sure you have the right stuff, because I find a lot of people find my items simply by Googling it. And that's the way it gets routed over to my store. So by investing into a lot of SEO stuff, but also some manual advertising and just putting it out there and showing people, hey, what do you think of this? And getting their feedback and soliciting their sales from there. But it's like you said, there's a hustle part to it. I can't just put it out there and expect it to work. That works for some things, but if I don't keep innovating and adding more things, taking additional photos, it's just not going to work. So I've got to keep adding products and product lines, different things to keep growing that business, and then it starts to take care of itself.
Yeah, man. You got to have that constant evolution of the business. So you mentioned you have Etsy, eBay, and then there's a website coming, correct?
Uh-huh.
All right. And what else is working today in terms of marketing?
As far as marketing, I would say, especially those on Etsy, don't be afraid of the ads. Don't be afraid of the offsite ads. That I get way more business from offsite ads. People are disgruntled because after $10,000, you're automatically enrolled in that. And they're like, I don't want to pay Etsy to do that. I've got a lot of sales from that. And that just happens organically if you have the right SEO. And the
So
right
you'd say it's worth it then?
It's absolutely worth it. And every month I go back and I look at my Etsy ads and I go, all right, what worked? What didn't work? Do I need to change what I advertise? Do I need to change how much I spend off of those things? What works off of those? And I make adjustments every month to my Etsy ad budget.
Dude, that's cool, man. So, dude, that's it for me, man. So what's next for Super 3D Prints? What's the future hold for you, sir?
Yeah, well, I mentioned earlier, I want to get more into digital designs. I've been using other people's designs. I've been buying them from them. Instead, I now say, hey, that's really awesome. What if I asked you to make one specifically just for me? And then I could turn around, I could sell those things, or I could sell the digital file themselves. So the digital files is where I'm really starting to focus on. That's a almost passive way to do things because I don't have to keep making new products all the time. I design it, put it on there, and let people buy it as needed.
That's
Download those
awesome,
files from
man.
there.
Dude,
So
that's genius. Chris, congratulations to you, dude. $100,000 is nothing to scoff at by any means. You're up there with the top earners as far as people I've interviewed. So, dude, let's wrap it up with your number one tip for anyone who wants to start their own 3D printing business.
print what you love. That's what's worked for me. Like I mentioned, KitchenAid knobs. I don't love KitchenAid mixers. And so sometimes I have to have random things there too. But print what you love. That's going to motivate you. If you're into Star Wars, do that. Get into those things. If you like Power Rangers, there's some awesome things that you can make off of all of that. If you like LARPing, oh my gosh, there's a market for all of that stuff. So if you like it, other people are going to like it too. And it's going to, your passion is going to be infused into the products that you sell because you're willing to market them. You're willing to play with them and use them and not just throw it on a shelf or a drawer, but actually go like, hey, check out this cool thing that I made. So really just print what you love and the rest will really start to follow through.
I agree, man. See, when you post something, you sell something. I don't know how to explain it, but there's an energy to that post and people can tell if you're full of shit or if you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
So I told you guys to stay to the very, very end for as always, your product idea. So you can start your own 3D printing business. And as Chris and I agreed upon, if you love, print what you love. So if you love baking, right? Maybe you should make baking decoration tools, right? I'm not a baker, but I'm sure there's some things that you can print, maybe some icing piping nozzles, unique ones. Maybe you can make some stamps for when, the cake is made, you just go, boop, one of those. You guys, cookie cutters. I know someone who makes, there's a lady who made $30,000 from cookie cutters in 1 month. It blew my freaking mind. And that's profit. So anyway, that's your product idea for the day. Again, Chris, congratulations. Thank you so much. If you guys need help starting, building, and scaling your own 3D printing business, join the coaching program. Chris is in it. He loves it, or so he says he does.
At least on camera.
Yeah, at least on camera, right? All right, you guys. Join me for the next episode. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and join us in the 3D Printing Hustle group. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.